So today we're making a Tuscan style salmon. This is really a twist off a recipe that's normally made with chicken. We're gonna put the salmon in the oven. We're gonna make a quick sauce, quick dinner. I'm telling you guys, definitely are gonna wanna try this. Make sure you share this with your friends and family. Make sure you like and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get to cooking. Okay, to start, what I have here is 2 fillets of salmon. We want to keep this very, very simple. Just a little bit of olive oil for flavor and also to get it to fry up and help the seasoning stick to the fish. We're going to season this very simply. Just a little bit of salt and black pepper. You can also season with other things, but keep in mind, I want the sauce to speak for itself. I don't want to add a lot of extra flavors to the fish. I want to keep it simple so that the sauce speaks for itself. Now we're going to go into the oven set to 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 10 minutes or until our fish is cooked to about 135 to 140 degrees Fahrenheit internally. Now it's really going to depend on how thick your fish is. Could take 10 minutes, could take 12 minutes, could take 8 minutes. So you just want to keep an eye on it, and once it hits that internal temperature, it's done. Now to make the sauce, we have a 10-inch pan on medium heat. We're gonna add about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And then once the oil is hot, we're gonna add our shallots. We're gonna add just a little bit of salt on the shallots. This helps to draw out some of the moisture of the onion. If you don't have a shallot, you can always just use a nice sweet onion if you like. I like shallots, but they are a little bit more expensive, but they have a nice mild onion flavor, where if you use a Spanish onion, it's gonna be a little bit stronger, and then a sweet onion is gonna have a little more sweetness. So I find that the shallot's the perfect balance. Now after about 1 to 2 minutes, the shallots will start to turn translucent. We don't want them to caramelize, we just want them to be translucent. We're gonna add a little bit of chili flake for some heat and about 3 cloves of some minced garlic. We're gonna let that garlic and chili flake saute for about 30 seconds or so, or just until you begin to smell the garlic. We're gonna add in a few tablespoons of some dry sherry wine. This is gonna add a little bit of acidity. It's gonna add a little bit of a wine flavor. Since we're not using lemon juice, you need a little bit of acid. You can also use vinegar, but for this recipe, a little bit of white wine like a Chardonnay, dry sherry, or lemon juice will be just fine. Now once the wine is completely reduced, we do not want any excess wine in here. We want to make sure all the alcohol is evaporated. We just want the flavor of the wine. We're gonna add in some sun-dried tomatoes, give that a quick stir into the shallots and the garlic. Then we're gonna add a touch of some heavy cream. This is about a half a cup of some heavy cream, and then about a 1/4 cup or so of some Parmesan cheese. Now the Parmesan cheese is gonna add umami. Now a lot of people don't use cheese when eating fish. This is pretty much the only cheese I would probably use when making a sauce like this to go on top of our fish. But yes, keep in mind though, it's not common to use cheese with fish. But in this case, it's gonna be delicious, gonna add a bunch of umami, so I definitely recommend a little bit of Parmesan. It's also gonna thicken up our sauce and add a little bit of salt. Now, as soon as this comes to a gentle simmer, we're gonna add some fresh spinach, just a handful or so, a bunch of fresh basil. This is gonna brighten that up, give it a nice basil flavor, and then just a little bit of parsley. I like the flavor of parsley. A lot of people think that parsley is just for garnish. Parsley has a nice earthy flavor that I like to put in my sauces. You don't have to use parsley, but I recommend it. We're gonna go ahead and stir that spinach and basil and parsley into the sauce. Now, at this point, it's looking nice and thick. So what you're gonna do is we're gonna turn off the heat and we're gonna gently melt about 2 tablespoons of butter into the sauce. The butter's gonna add richness, and if for some reason your sauce was too thin, like you added too much cream or you added too much wine and you didn't let it reduce, it's gonna also emulsify and thicken up our sauce. You also don't wanna have the heat on too high when you add the butter. If you do that and the heat's still on, the sauce is gonna break and it'll be oily. So you definitely wanna turn off the heat and let the residual heat of the sauce melt the butter so it emulsifies correctly. I'm gonna add just a little bit of black pepper because I know it needs it. And there you have it, our sauce is done. Let's go ahead and serve up the salmon. Now we're gonna serve this salmon right on top of some jasmine rice. Very simple recipe, guys. Add a nice amount of our sauce right on top. As you can see, our sauce is nice and thick. That flavor is gonna carry nicely on the tongue. We'll garnish with a little bit of fresh basil right there on top. Chopped parsley because I have to do it. And there it is, that's our beautiful Tuscan salmon. Nice sun-dried tomatoes, basil, nice creamy sauce. Let's go ahead and give it a try. All right, let's see what this is hitting for. Get a little sun-dried tomato, a little spinach in there. Wow, this might be my new favorite way to eat this. Traditionally, like I said before, this is a play off of a Tuscan chicken recipe. I figured I'd just try it with fish. It's very, very rich. The sun-dried tomatoes add a nice flavor. I love fresh basil, it's my favorite herb. I've said that 1,000 times. It's creamy, it's got a lot of umami. It's not common to use Parmesan cheese with fish. A lot of people don't like the taste of cheese with fish. It grosses them out. This I don't mind so much. I don't mind Parmesan cheese. If you don't want to use Parm, maybe a little bit of Dijon mustard, a little bit of lemon juice, some shiitake mushrooms will give you the same umami flavor that the Parmesan cheese gives you. But either way, if you use Parmesan or you use something like a Dijon mustard, it'll be excellent. Anyways, please share the channel with your friends and family. If If you don't like this recipe, I got hundreds of other recipes. Go check out the website. If you guys enjoyed this video or you learned something, give me a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace. Bro, go. We're trying to make a YouTube video. We'll give you chicken later if you just go lay down.